Okay guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Well, I've gotten a lot of requests on how do you solve exactly a 3x3. The reason they call these a 3x3 is because it has 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3. A 3x3 or 9 pieces on each side of the Rubik's Cube. So, let's get into it. These things were originally made in the 80s and they were very popular, but I highly think that you guys even give a crap about when they were made. You just want to know how to solve one. So let's get straight to it. There's 3 things you gotta know about solving a Rubik's Cube. First of all, you need to know what the inside of a Rubik's Cube actually looks like. You also have to know how a Rubik's Cube actually works. Secondly, you need to know cube notation or algorithms. And lastly, you need to know the steps of solving a Rubik's Cube. And I'm going to be showing you all of that today in this video. So, let's get started. The first thing you have to know about a Rubik's Cube is what the inside of a Rubik's Cube looks like. So to get to the inside of a Rubik's Cube, you simply turn a piece to the corner and pop out the corner. But I'm not going to be doing that with this corner because I already have a core set up for you guys. This is what the inside of a Rubik's Cube actually looks like. Notice how it has 6 sides. There's a yellow side, an orange side, a white side, a red side, a blue side, and a green side. There's 6 sides to it. And you need to know one thing. First of all, it's very important that you know that white is opposite to yellow, that green is opposite to blue, and that red is opposite to orange. Should you find the cube that is not in that order, where these colors that I just said are opposite to each other, then you have what something is known as an unsolvable cube. And I'm going to show you what happens when you have an unsolvable cube later on in this video. Simply because you need to know something really important. Doesn't matter if you're Drake, President Obama, Lady Gaga, or some beast-ass mother hugger living in a mansion, you cannot think that the pieces in a Rubik's Cube are replicas of each other. No 2 pieces repeat. So let me show you what I mean. There is only one piece in a Rubik's Cube that is blue on one side, red on one side. There is only one piece that's red on one side, white on the other, yellow on one side, orange on the other. That means one thing. If you put the pieces in the wrong place, then you have an unsolvable cube. So in this cube, notice how the centers are stuck. They're permanent. They don't move. So then how do the rest of the pieces move into place? Well, here's the thing. Take notice of the center. It's the same thing as the center in the yellow. No matter which way I move the cube, the center never moves. Doesn't matter on which side, the center will never move. These sides are permanent, so we work around it. This is why this is called a core. So there's 3 types of pieces. There's a corner piece that has 3 colors. For example, this one is blue on one side, white on the other, red on the other. And then there's another one that's called an edge piece that has 2 colors, orange on one side, blue on the other, in this one. And of course the one that's just one color. So the reason this is called a core is because the rest of the pieces go around it. So for example, this is called an edge piece. The reason it's called an edge piece is because it goes in the edges. This color is orange and blue. So it can only go in one place, since I told you the pieces are unique. It can only go between the color that it's blue and orange. So blue and orange, blue and orange. So that piece can only go here. Notice how it goes aligned with these colors. Should you, like I told you before, should you put the pieces in the wrong order, like so, then you have an unsolvable cube. And you don't want that. These corner pieces go in the corners, simply because it goes between the white, red, and blue. So that piece goes between the white, the red, and the blue. That piece goes here. But I'm not going to arm the cube since it would take about 15 minutes. So what's the next step in solving a Rubik's Cube? I told you it was cube notation. What is cube notation? Okay, well, when you're solving a Rubik's Cube, you need to move pieces to a certain place. And in order to do that, you need to know something called algorithms. Okay, what are algorithms? You guys must be looking at me, okay, that has to do with math. I don't want to learn math. So, it's not really math. It has nothing to do with numbers. It has to do with letters. So, what are the following letters that you need to know in order to solve a Rubik's Cube? Well, each letter is usually represented by the face of a cube. So let's say we're holding the cube like this. If I say do an R move, it simply means what the letter represents. R means right, or the right side that you're holding. If I say L, it simply means the left side that you're holding. If I mean U, it means the face that's facing up. And D means down. B means back. And that's basically what it means. But sometimes you guys might get a little bit confused because these letters are usually represented by a lowercase letter or an uppercase letter. So if you have an uppercase letter, say I say an uppercase R or a capital R, simply all it means is turn the right face. Notice how I'm turning it clockwise if I turn it like this. So clockwise. If I say do an L move, clockwise. If I say do a U move, clockwise. If I do a D move, clockwise. And so on. But if you have a lowercase letter, it simply means take the second layer with you. What do I mean by a layer? Well, the method that I'm going to be teaching you in order to solve Rubik's Cube is called the layer method. The reason it's called the layer method is because we're going to be solving the cube by layer. This is the bottom layer, this is the middle layer, and this is the top layer. So when I say, when you find the letter that represents itself as a lowercase r, it simply means you not only take this one, as I did before, but you take this one as well. So a small r means this. See how I'm taking two layers. Big R means just a small one. Small r. And, okay, so let's say you find a letter that has a little tick mark next to it, a little apostrophe. What does that mean? It simply means the reverse. That is what's known as a prime. So if I say R prime, it means reverse. So this is normal R, because I'm turning it this way, turning it forward. But if I say R prime, I mean turn it this way, turn it reverse. Notice how this time I'm turning it counterclockwise instead of clockwise. And that is basically what is cube notation. Okay guys, so now we're actually going to get into solving the Rubik's Cube. So the first step in solving a Rubik's Cube is known as the white cross. A lot of people refer to it as just the cross, but in this video we're going to be using the white side. Remember how I told you the centerpieces never move. So for educational purposes, what I want you to do is I want you to find the white centerpiece, the one in the middle, and turn it facing upward. This is what our goal is going to look like. We're going to have a white cross, pretty specifically a cross that is also aligned with the colors on the side. Notice how this piece right here that is white on one side, red on one side is aligned with its colors. So it's aligned with its white, aligned with the red. This is a bad example of a cross. We may have our white cross, but look at the centers. It may be aligned with the white, but it's not aligned with the color on its side. This should be blue and white. Blue on this side, white on this side. It should be like this. It shouldn't be like this. Should your cross look like this, start over. So let's actually get into doing the cross. For right now, we're not going to be doing algorithms until the next step. So how do we do the cross? Remember, have the white facing upward. And there's 4 pieces to a cross. A piece here, 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 and here. 4. So we're going to be looking for 4 pieces that have white and another color. For right now, do not worry about the corners. Don't worry about the corners because that's not really part of the cross. So let's look for the first piece. So we're looking for a piece that's white on one side, green on the other. And as you can tell, it's right here. Now sometimes we're going to find those pieces on pretty much anywhere in the cube except the corners. Because remember, right here we're doing edge pieces. Edge pieces are just 2 colors, not 3 like the corners. Notice how the corners have 3 colors. Only 2. So those pieces can only be where a cross can be made. And what I mean by that is that they can only be in 4 of these places on each side of the cube. So they can be anywhere on the cube in any layer, and all you have to do is look at them and find it. So we found this piece here. And what we wanted to do is that we first, in order to get your cross, what I want you to do is first align it with the second color. Don't align it with the white right away, and you'll see why later on. I'll explain that. So what we want to do is we want to align the green with the green. So how do we do that? If we turn it this way, I didn't align it with the green, did I? If I turn it this way, nothing happens. Remember, when we're moving a Rubik's Cube piece, we have to keep in mind, where am I moving it? And you also have to ask yourself, am I moving any other pieces out of the way? That's really important. I'll show you what I mean. See how this is already solved? Red is with red, white is with white. I move this, now it's not solved anymore. The piece went over here, not here. I don't want that. I don't want to move it out of place. So, when you're moving a piece, keep in mind of the pieces that are already solved. So what I want to do is, when you have pieces that are already solved, I want you to make the white facing down, and I'll show you what I mean. This is already solved. If I turn it this way, I make it unsolved. But I want to align the green with the green, don't I? So I can align the green with the green, and now I can move back the piece that I moved earlier back to its original place. And notice how I align the green with the green, and now all I have to do is align white with white. Notice how I made two parts of the cross. So the next part is I'm going to be looking for a piece that's white on one side, blue on the other. Where is it? It's right here. Remember how I told you, be careful when moving the pieces that are already solved. I want to align blue with blue. How do I do that? The only way that I can do that is what I like to call turning the white down. This is what I mean. See how the white is facing to the right? I want to make the white face down. How do I do that? I simply turn the face this way. But wait, oh no. Now I move the piece that was already solved out of the way. But don't worry about that. The reason why I want you to move the white facing down is, notice, if I move the white face up, I pretty much screwed up the whole cross. It's all messed up now. I don't want that. But if I move the white face down, I can move the bottom layer freely without screwing it up. So look what's going to happen. I move the white face down, I move it out of place, I move the red back up so I don't screw around with the pieces on the top, and I can freely move the bottom layer without screwing up anything on the top. So now that the white is facing down, I simply align it with the blue, and now I want to align the white with the white. So I turn it up. Now we have three pieces of the cross. Now we look for the last one. Orange with white. White on one side, orange on the other. Where is it? Notice how the white's already facing down. So I can freely move the bottom layer without screwing it up. But what if I had the piece right here? Now the white's facing that way. But notice how the orange is already aligned. So I can simply just align it and make a white cross. But sometimes we're going to have this case right here. So now we only have two pieces of the cross. I want to align orange with orange, but I can't do it. And I don't want to screw up, I don't want to move this up because then I screw up the green. So remember, white facing down. Turn the white facing down. So I pretty much turn this face temporarily, move the orange out of the way, turn the green back up so I don't screw around with it. Now I can freely move the bottom layer, align orange with orange, and then align white with white. And the last one. Notice how this one, in this case, this is what I was going to show you. It's red with red. Red and white is what I mean. That piece is supposed to go here. And notice how the white, it's not facing down, it's facing me. So how do I do that? So look at this. I simply turn it back to where it would be easier to make it turn it down. Notice that. How do you have to think, because there's no algorithms for this, there's no moves. How do I want the white to be facing down? I can turn it this way, and I can turn it down. But now I screwed up this, but remember, it's only temporary. Move it out of place, move it back up. So now we align red with red, and white with white. Now we need the last part of the cross, white and blue. White's already facing down, so we align blue with blue, and align white with white. So we have a cross. And now we have the first step done. Remember what I told you. This is the correct cross. Notice how the colors on the side are aligned, and so is the cross. See how I did that with both cubes? This is an incorrect cross because the colors are not aligned. If that's wrong, start over. And now we're on to step 2. Okay guys, so now we're on to the second step of solving the Rubik's Cube. And the second step of solving the Rubik's Cube, as I said earlier, we were going to do it by layers. So now that we have the cross done, as I told you before that the cross was facing up, now I want you to turn it down. So the second step of solving a Rubik's Cube is solving the corners. So notice how we have the white already solved, but we have to solve these four corners. And the way that we would do that is that we have to look for corner pieces this time, pieces with 3 colors. So let me explain. See how this piece is already solved? It's 3 colors, isn't it? White on one side because this side is white, red on one side because this side is red, and green on this side because this side is green. This piece is already solved, but as you can tell, the rest aren't. So now, how do we do that? How do we solve it? So the first thing we have to know is that we have to look for the pieces, don't we? So let's start with this one right here. We're looking for a piece that's white on this side, blue on this side, and red on this side. So we look for that piece. Now, there's a difference between edge pieces and corner pieces. The difference is that corner pieces can only be in corners, obviously. So we can rule the edge pieces out, the pieces that we used earlier to get the cross. So here's the thing. Let's look for a white, blue, and red. It's not, it might be in the bottom layer, but it's not. Can't be in the middle layer, obviously, because these are edge pieces. There are no corner pieces. So here's the piece. White on one side, red on the other, blue on this side. And what we want to do is that we're going to align it. We're going to put it on top of where it would go. So it's on top of where it would go, because this piece needs to go here, because this piece is where it has to be. It has to go here because it's white on this side, blue on this side, and red on this side. So I align it where the corner where it's going to go, right on top of it. And this is where algorithms actually come in. Remember how I told you R, U, and all those kind of things, where if I tell you to do R, I tell you to do this. If I tell you to do U, I tell you to do that. I tell you to do L, I tell you to do that. So this is where algorithms actually come in. I want to move this piece here. And the way that we guide ourselves to actually doing this is that we guide ourselves with the white. White is facing up. And for this, we have an algorithm. When white is facing up, the algorithm for it, you simply align the color to where the corner is going to go. This piece is going to go here. White is facing up. And the algorithm for this is R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. That will be shown on your screen. And notice after we did that move, the piece is solved. So now we move on. Let's look for this piece. It's not solved. Green on one side, white on one side, orange on the other. Where is it? Well, it's right here. It's already there. Notice how the white this time isn't facing up. It's facing us. And when the white is facing forward or us, the algorithm for this is F prime, U prime, F. And after we do that algorithm as shown on your screen, the pieces is already solved. Now we look for the last one. One color is going to be orange, one is going to be blue, one is going to be white. So we look for that. It's right here. But notice how the white this time is facing to the right. It's not facing up, it's not facing us, it's facing that way. It's facing to the right. When the white is on the right, the algorithm for this is simple. R, U, R prime. As shown on your screen. And notice how after we do that for all 4 sides, we're done with the first layer. But I want to show you something. Sometimes you guys are going to run into this problem. Notice how this piece is in the right place. It's between the white, the red, and the green. It's in the right place, but it's in the wrong order. Notice how it doesn't look at all solved, does it? So what do? For this case, what you want to do is that you want to put a random piece in here so that you can correct it. You want to correct the problem, don't you? In order to do that, you want to do something I like to call piece replacement. I'm going to replace this piece right here with any random one. I know it's not the right piece, but I just want to fix the problem. So I want you to notice is all you have to do is do the algorithm R, U, R prime, so I could put this piece here, even though it's not where it's supposed to go. But notice how the piece now popped up here. Now I can freely move it. So now I align it where it's supposed to go. And now white's facing up. As we remember, when it's facing up, it's R, U, 2, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. And now the problem is already fixed. Sometimes you might have this problem right here where for some you have the piece where it's supposed to go, but it's not between the right colors. Notice how this is green, orange, and white, and this is supposed to be red, green, and white. So what do? Piece replacement. I will replace any random piece with it, R, U, R prime, and now the piece popped up over here. I align it where it's supposed to go between the orange, the green, and the white. When white's facing me, I do F, F prime, U prime, F. And now I bring this piece over here. Since it's between the green, the red, and the white, it's facing me, so it's F prime, U prime, F. And if you notice, we're done with the first bottom layer. Should you have any problems, all you have to do is comment this video, and if not, we're on to the next step. Okay guys, so now the third step of solving the Rubik's Cube. Remember how I told you the layer method. We solved the first layer, we also solved the white face. It's all in the correct order. So the next part is the second layer. Remember, one thing you have to know is never disalign the colors. See how it's not aligned? Don't do that. Never disalign the colors. So the next part we're going to do is that we're going to put these edge pieces where they're supposed to go. There's 4 of them. And so, same thing, we have to find the pieces first, don't we? So now we're going to look for a piece that's blue on one side, red on the other, because the pieces in the middle never move, as I said earlier. So now we're going to look for that in the top layer, or possibly in the wrong slot. They're never going to be in the bottom layer because we just solved that, didn't we? So we're looking for a piece that was red and blue. It's right here. So what we want to do is notice how it's red on this side, blue on this side. We can't align it with the blue, so we're going to align it with the red. Where you can align it, you put that face on the right. This piece needs to go here. It needs to move forward. And for when the piece needs to move forward from here to here, you do the following algorithm. So it's going to be R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R, U, R. And after we perform that algorithm, notice how that piece is solved. So now we move on. Let's look for a piece that's red on one side, green on the other. It's right here. So we align it with green since we can align it like that. Never do this. Don't do that because now we're going to screw up the cross. We can align it, if you can align it with the other color, align it with that one. So that piece needs to go here. It's moving forward. So for this, we perform the same algorithm on your screen, which is R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R, U, R. And now we solve that piece. So now we're going to look for a piece that's green on one side, orange on the other. But if you notice, it's not on the top layer. Where'd it go? Oh, we notice it's right here. So now we're going to go like, oh no, we can't solve it. Nope, it's still solvable. What we're going to do is the same thing I told you last time. Something called piece replacement, what I told you. So we're going to put any random piece here. So I'm going to put any random piece. I know this piece doesn't go here, but I just want to pop this piece over here. I want to replace it. So I'm just going to do R, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime. So now, notice how that piece popped up. So now we can align it. This piece needs to move forward. So for this one, like I said, it was R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, and simply R, U, R, U, R prime. Oh, that didn't work. No. So what we're going to do is we're going to try it again. This piece needs to go here, so it's R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, U, R, R, U prime. Sometimes you might have to do this a couple of times because as I said, this is a simple method, and if you screw the algorithm once, you might not get it. So try it over and over again until you actually get the piece. That was the demonstration. So now we want to put this piece here. So we align the color where it goes because it's orange on one side, blue on the other. But now notice how this piece isn't supposed to go forward. It's always supposed to be on the right, like I told you. Align with the color, put it on the right. But this time the piece needs to go backward. See how this piece needs to go here, not here? For this, we have another algorithm. When it's supposed to go backwards, we simply do the algorithm shown on your screen. R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime. And now if you noticed, we solved the first two bottom layers, or also known as the layer method. Now we're on to the next step. Okay guys, so the next step of solving the Rubik's Cube is getting a yellow cross. That's what our goal is actually going to look like. Now, in order to get a cross, notice how we come across a couple of little strange shapes. This is what I call a small L, because it's a small L. And you're going to run into three cases basically. You're either going to run into a small L, an L created by these small little yellow pieces, or a row completely of yellow, or you might not have anything at all. It might look like this, just yellow. And I'm going to teach you the algorithms for each one of those in order for you to get the yellow cross. So for this one, if you have this small yellow L, you simply turn it so that it's facing this way, and you perform the following algorithm. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And when you do that, you might end up with a different row. And so if you run into this, notice how this time we have a row. And for this one, it's F, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime. Notice how now we have a cross. But sometimes you might not end up with that. Sometimes you might end up with the small L, like I told you. So for this one, we're going to do small f, R, U, R prime, U prime, small f prime. And now notice how we have the cross. But remember how I told you that sometimes we're not going to run into any of those. We're just going to have this. So when you do this, you do the first algorithm, which I told you, which was F, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime. And then you do the following algorithm, small f, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime, and you'll actually get your cross. But since I didn't get that case and I can't show you, so you just do those two algorithms and you should be able to get your cross. So now, what's the next step? My next step is that I want to get just one piece of yellow on this side. Notice how we have two yellow pieces, one on each side. What I want to get is just one, because basically what I want to do is I want to turn it this way so I can put that, but I don't have that yet. So when you run into a case where you have two yellows or maybe three yellows, simply what you want to do is look for on the sides for a yellow facing you and put it on the left lower corner and perform the algorithm R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And once you do this, notice how now I got what I wanted to get. I got a yellow and the cross. So now I put that yellow in the lower left corner and I perform the same algorithm. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And you might have to do the algorithm a couple of times till you get it right. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. Now notice how we have the yellow face solved. And that was the next step. Okay, so now we're on to the next step of solving a Rubik's Cube. And the next step is that we're going to orient these pieces on the side and thus ending the process of solving a Rubik's Cube. So the next step is that we're going to look for something I like to call headlights. Or I don't call them this, but they're technically called headlights. What are headlights? Headlights are two colors on the left and the right that are the same color. Notice how this is blue and this is green. So that's not a headlight. This is orange, this is green. That's not a headlight. This is red and this is red. That's a headlight. So when you find your headlights, you turn them to the back. They're in the back now. And you keep them in the back, and you perform the following algorithm. R prime, F, R prime, B2, R, F prime, R prime, B2, R2. Now notice how after we did that algorithm, we actually ended up with headlights. Now, what happens if we actually don't have headlights to begin with? And like in this case. Right here we have headlights. Let me see if I can get a case where we don't have headlights. Just like this case right here. Notice how we don't have headlights on any side. If you don't have headlights on any side, just hold a cube in any way and perform the algorithm that we just did. R prime, F, R prime, B2, R, F prime, R prime, B2, R2. And now we should get headlights. Notice how this is blue and blue, so we put them in the back and perform the same algorithm. R prime, F, R prime, B2, R2, R, F prime, R prime, B2, R2. And now we have those two headlights. Sometimes what's going to happen is that once you get your headlights on both sides, what's going to happen is that you're going to have a solved edge. And when you have your solved edge, such for example we have green, what you want to do is that you want to put the solved edge in the back, and you perform the following algorithm, which is R, U prime, R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R2. And notice how sometimes you have to perform that algorithm twice or 3 times, maybe even 5 times. So you do R, U prime, R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R2. And notice, now we actually solved the Rubik's Cube. But the thing is that sometimes we're not going to have that case. Sometimes we're going to run into this case where we don't have a solved edge. So what do we do in that case? So in this time, when you have that, just hold a cube in any way and perform the same algorithm. R, U, R prime. So we have a solved edge after we do that algorithm. So now we put it in the back and we perform the same algorithm until we actually get it solved. So now we solved the Rubik's Cube. So that concludes the tutorial. Should you guys have any questions, or if you actually want me to do a tutorial where I solve it my way and I go step by step, then you guys can comment the video. Otherwise, thanks for watching, like the video, and that's how you solve a Rubik's Cube, you damn bastards.